What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Steam Deck gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna revisit Hogwarts Legacy on the Steam Deck and see how it's running now. It's had a lot of updates, so I figured since we're going back to games that did not run very well on the Steam Deck, I figured, well, this is another one that did not run the greatest at first, so I figured we could go in and do my settings that I was running when I was playing the game a bunch. I even played a bunch of the game on this thing. I played most of it on my main computer because it's just the funnest thing to play games on, but there was a lot of times where I was getting a little sleepy, but not quite ready to go to bed, where I would just take that thing and play in bed a little bit before I was like, all right, now I'm about ready for bed, and then put the thing down and sleep, you know? It's pretty fun. That's another one of the great uses for the Ally on the Steam Deck. Anyway though, so we're gonna basically jump in there. Now this place has a couple places I wanted to try out, just like The Last of Us. I wanted to try Hogwarts, I wanted to try Hogsmeade, and I wanted to try going around like a foresty type area and flying around as well. But we'll just do that on our way to a place. Like we'll go like out of Hogsmeade and fly to a forest or something like that. That way I don't have to stop too often and make too many different video files, you know? But anyway, now that we got all that out of the way, let's go have a look at some settings and then we'll jump into the game. All right, so let's go over the settings I've decided to go with in this thing. Now this was a tough game. I pretty much couldn't get a constant 30 everywhere no matter what. So I basically just decided on these because it did a pretty damn good job. But this is still a very stuttery game, probably because it's so CPU heavy, and that's kind of where this Steam Deck kind of falls on its face a little bit here, unfortunately. But here's the settings we're going to go with. And there we go. So now, let's go hop onto the game, and we'll start at Hogwarts, then go Hogsmeade, and then find a forest and fly around a little too. All right, here we are, starting off in Hogwarts here. And as you can see there, it already dropped down to 28. 27. And as you can see, you gotta wait to open doors too, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It's a pretty hard to run game as it is.
Anyone been into Aldi Week's shop lately?
But see what I mean? Down to 26. It's just kind of stuttery. It can stay around 30 sometimes, but every once in a while it just drops down to like somewhere in the 20s. But then there's other times like right now where it's like, all right, I can do 30, sure. Completely depends on where you are. That's why I said I can't get 30 everywhere, no matter what. Like, I might be able to if I turned everything to low and put everything to FSR Ultra Performance, but that's no way to play a game. And even that might not work. So I just decided, okay, these settings were working pretty good. What if I just suck it up and turn FSR on to quality? And that's pretty much where we're at. All right, let's go fly on over to that little bridgey thing. There we go. And we'll fly around a lot more a little bit later in the video when we're on our way to the forest area, after we visit Hogsmeade. But I wanted to do a little bit more in here before we left Hogwarts, because we didn't go inside too awful much, and I want to go in there a little more. So let's go back in. Alright, back inside we are, so that doesn't seem to be a door I can go in right now. Alright, that looks like a door I can go in, and again, kind of have to wait. Down to 22 there, sheesh. Yeah, I wish the game didn't do that nonsense. In any case, I think that's pretty good, so let's go ahead and move on to Hogsmeade. All right, now we're in Hogsmeade, so let's run around in Hogsmeade a little bit, and as you can see, we already dropped down to 23 just turning around the corner there. So this is one of the hardest places in the whole game to run. So you're going to probably see most of your frame drops here. Though Hogwarts was still pretty bad too, if I'm honest. I'd still say that frame drops are more frequent here. And they're still worse. They're going down to 23. I think we only had 122 when we were walking around in Hogwarts. But like I said, this is the most CPU-intensive place and hardest place to run, really, in the whole game. As far as I've found, anyway. And after we're done running around here for a little bit, we'll go hop on our broom and fly around a little bit, try to find a forest or something.
Here? The demiguise.
Demiguise.
I wish I paid more.
I'll have to go get that later. I'm trying to find all of them.
If it thinks it's got half
I think that's an achievement. I got a lot of them. I just didn't get all of them. It's really hard to get all achievements. Usually I lose patience and just want to move on to another game. So it's very rare that I get 100% of all achievements in a game. But I did beat the game.
Will there ever be another one?
Yeah. When you're on the outskirts, it doesn't seem to be as frame droppy.
Please, take your time looking about.
But going down Main Street and whatnot, wow. That was frame drop city. But going around in Hogwarts, you gotta wait for doors to open for a couple seconds and this, that, and the other thing. And that still got some frame drops too, but I'd still say this is worse in Hogsmeade. Let's climb up here. And now, let's go ahead and we'll move along. Now, like I said, we'll fly around on our broom just a little so you guys can see how that does as well. And we'll maybe fly over to that forest over there. Looks like across the lake there's a nice little forest, and I'll finish up by walking through the forest. Now, when you're on the broom, there is going to be some frame drops here and there, but I'd still say it's nowhere near as bad as running around in Hogsmeade. See, there's one now going down to 27, but not the end of the world, definitely not. Not compared to some of the other spots in the game, that's for sure. And definitely far better than this is doing when it first came out. When it first came out, this was like dropping down to like the teens randomly. At way lower settings, too. Alright, so we'll start landing down right on over here. Take that floor and take that tree. Alright, now we'll just take a nice little stroll through the woods. Well, yeah, so far in the woods doesn't seem to be doing too awful bad.
Protego!
Oh, I say that, and when I move my skill, it goes down to 21, but still, compared to a lot of the other places, not as stuttery. but it still has its random stutters, just like everywhere else in the game. That's why I said this game is still probably runs the worst out of any of the other games that I've tried so far. Still playable, but there's definitely some spots like going through Hogsmeade where I wished it could get a little better performance, but yet without looking like absolute dog shit either. I know I could probably get a tiny bit better frames, but what the hell, Spider? You want to go? I don't think so.
Not my fault you're a deadly great spider.
Exactly. Well, this seems like a pretty damn good spot to stop, so why don't we go ahead and move on to a little camera recorded now. Alright guys, let's get a little camera recorded gameplay now. I wanted to come back to Hogsmeade again because it's nighttime. I wanted to see how it did at night. And we still dropped down to 24-25 at spots in this place. The only way we can... Well, there's really no way to avoid dropping a little under 30 here and there, and at least not in Hogsmeade, or in this game, really, period. There's just still, like, lots of little drops here and there, no matter what you do. Unless you make it look like a frickin' Nintendo 64 game, and then it might stop, but at that point, at what cost, you know? So, let's go... I'm gonna fly around on the Nightwing. Hell yeah. So yeah, I figured we would just get a little tiny bit of gameplay here with the camera. Out of all the games, I'd say this one probably still runs about the worst. But there's still a couple more to run through. And of course, if there's any that you would like to see, just let me know. Like there's any games that I tried that didn't work so good before, but maybe now they do, I can go back and try them out. I'm back at Hogwarts here. Well, looks like that's as high as you can go. That's still pretty high up, though. And I would still say this is playable. I wished it didn't drop so many frames, but still technically playable. Alright, let's get a little bit of gameplay on the ground here. And away he goes. Hell yeah, I jumped on that fence.
Seems a pleasant enough little place.
Pleasant enough, yes.
Handy resource indeed, your field guide.
But yeah, as you can see, it's still pretty damn playable.
I should investigate.
Just depends on what you're doing. If you're in Hogsmeade, you're going to get some drop frames. If you're flying around, you're going to get some drop frames. If you're just walking around like this, you might get a drop frame every now and again, but it stays pretty consistent like this. Of course, depending on where you are. And I wished I didn't have to use FSR, but unless I put everything to lowest settings, it just wasn't having it at 30 FPS all the time. It was way more stuttery without it. Which sucks, but hey, it is what it is. All I can do is show you what it gets, and you guys can decide if it's good enough for you or not, with its updates and whatnot. In any case though, I feel like that's probably plenty of camera recorded gameplay, so let's go wrap this gameplay video on up now. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Hogwarts Legacy on the Steam Deck here. We're going to go through all these games on all the other systems too as soon as I'm done with the Resident Evil 2. Just throw that out there, but this game still runs a lot better than it did, but it still has some stutters here and there. So I would probably say out of all the games I've tried, this one runs the worst out of all of them still. But I think it's mostly the CPU. It's a really CPU intensive game still. So maybe one day, but I feel like they're probably about done with all the big updates. So if you want it to not ever drop under 30, you're gonna have to make it look like absolute poo-a-doop. So if you just use my settings as a basis, you can probably get yourself above 30 all the time no matter what, but I like the way it kind of still looked, even though we still had some stutter. And no matter what I do, I couldn't make it not do that in Hogsmeade, which is kind of what made me decide, hey, let's just run it with these settings all the time, fuck it. You know, this is one of those games where it's just gonna have some stutters. But in any case though, I'd still say it's playable. It just might not be the most enjoyable for somebody who wants like a 30 plus experience all the time. If you're okay with like some drops here and there, and majority of the time it's 30, well, it still does that. But it drops more than any of the other games we tried so far in the FPS department, that is for sure. Anyway though, I'm just rambling now, so let's go ahead and wrap this video on up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, cause I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.